Since 1960, nuclear energy has indirectly influenced the actions of the Russian government as they answer to the response of society to these events. The effects of Chernobyl meltdown in 1986 are one key event that has impacted the large bitter country, that is Russia. Chernobyl caused uncertainty and unrest among the Russian population as they questioned their health, government, and insurance of electricity. Now, 20 years later, 30 new power plants have been planned to be constructed or updated around the country, despite the scare of radiation only 2 decades ago. Therefore, the need and supply of electricity has considerably influenced the Russian government as they decide between global warming and toxic waste. Nuclear energy plants work much the same as coal, but while coal is combusted, nuclear instead splits uranium atoms to create heat. When talking sustainability, nuclear requires less. A 1,000 megawatt coal station will use 3 to 4 million tonnes of coal in a year, while a 1,000 megawatt fission station requires only 150 to 200 tonnes of uranium within the year. This means less waste due to less fuel. This is a bonus when considering that one major difference between burning of fossil fuels and nuclear power is the consideration of waste, because whilst coal is emitting gases into our atmosphere, causing the poisoning of our air, nuclear waste instead needs underground bunkers to store its toxic waste. It is this fear of radiation that caused the majority of countries around the world not to consider the conversion over to nuclear. The key period of growth of the Soviet nuclear industry was that of the 11th five-year plan, 1981 to 1985, at which time the industry was to have accounted for 30% of electric power produced in the Soviet Union. Chernobyl was a first-generation reactor lacking essential safety procedures that may have prevented its meltdown. However, a non-existent safety culture endorsed a lack of understanding and training for the sensitive reactor, resulting in 2 immediate fatalities upon the initial explosion. When Western powers and countries heard of the incident, they placed pressure upon the Soviet Union to release statements about the accident. However, the secretiveness of the government didn't agree and inadvertently caused the disaster to be used as an unrestrained anti-Soviet campaign, according to the leadership of Gorbachev. Furthermore, the lack of safety continued into the cleanup process, as 2 weeks' worth of radiation continued to escape from the gaping hole in the reactor. It was blocked off using machines and liquidators, or cleanup workers, provided with inadequate safety equipment and clothing in a highly hazardous situation. In an interview in 1990 with the official of the Proprietary Industrial and Research Association, he noted that 5,000 now dead liquidators, predominantly young men in their 20s, some of whom suffered heart attacks, should not have normally died from such a cause. Furthermore, the mental impact of Chernobyl accident on the Soviet Union was enormous and has significant ramifications for the exposure of safety, understanding, and political awareness for the masses. Additionally, Russia was subject to unrest following the Chernobyl accident, as Western Europe refused trade of agricultural produce and other bordering countries of the Eastern Bloc. They were subject to further setbacks as radiation affected 1,023,000 hectares of prime agricultural land that sat around the location of Chernobyl. In late 1992, only 17 years after the initial disaster, the spokesman of the Russian atomic power industry announced goals to expand nuclear energy in Russia, with emphasis on remote areas of the Federation. However, with 5,902,000 tonnes of known recoverable resources of uranium globally as of 2013, that is projected to supply up to 90 years worth of uranium internationally, it is little wonder Russia has commissioned 10 nuclear plants that supplies up to 18% of Russia's total energy currently. Adding the extra 8 plants currently in construction and the 30 planned for the future, it's therefore unsurprising that Russia is expected to be 50% nuclear by 2030. Hence, the response of the Russian government affected significantly by the pressure placed upon it by society, as Western countries wanted knowledge, citizens wanted energy assurance, and everyone wanted nuclear safety.
Created using Powtoon.